We're back for another Round 22 review show here, reacting to NRL 360's August 15th Monday night show. Plenty of topics, as always, in the NRL. I'm going to kick it off with some unfortunate news there of Ponga and Kurt Mann, who are both out injured at the moment. Ponga dealing with his concussion issues. He's had 3 this season, and Kurt Mann is out injured currently. Both of them found walking out of a cubicle. Of course, someone's videoing it. Like, it's the NRL, right? I suppose, yeah, it's just if NRL players are out, someone's like, oh, I'm going to try and get my claim to fame and video them. And it's sad, right? Obviously, the old boys talk about, oh, this never happened, obviously, when there wasn't camera phones and stuff like that. And they could get away with a lot more. But obviously, this day and age, you can't get away with it. And the players know that. The unfortunate thing here is they speak about that... the boys were playing in Brisbane and they stayed in Newcastle as well. Ponga is also captain. So it's a bit of a sad one that they come out and they're obviously drinking at the moment as well. So we'll just have a listen to what the boys say first.
Being asked to leave a toilet cubicle at the Delaney Hotel in Newcastle.
Okay.
There just happened to be someone there filming it.
So Andre Ponga has come out and said that he was sick after celebrating the purchase of the house, and the Kurt Mann was in the toilet with him while he was sick.
But hey,
Yeah.
we might have to get Pinocchio out again. We're not believing that fairy tale, are we?
Well, it's not often that you go to the toilet with a mate to throw up,
And
do
both
you?
come out holding your bourbon and cokes.
It's an interesting one.
Look, it's a
Didn't
bad
have any hair
scene.
hole either.
He didn't have his headgear on. If he had his headgear on, I thought he might have been holding that. But
No, look, I think it's a really, really bad look, and I know the Knights are really concerned about the PR side of it and the culture side of it.
As they should do.
Yeah, for the captain of that club, do you know how serious I think it is? I think he will be stripped of the captaincy.
Is that right?
Over this?
Pretty full on, right? As he said there, Ponga's captain of the club. They're a team that's been pretty poor this year. Let's be honest, they're right at the bottom of the ladder, 14th. Have a team that you would say, on paper, should be a lot higher than they are. Ponga doesn't play amazingly for the Knights. He's obviously a lot better when he plays for Queensland, especially the last few years. We could say that. That's clear just based on the stats. I love Ponga as a player, just to pop that out there. But yeah, it's a bit of a bad look. Kurt Mann, injured. We know that when you're injured, you probably shouldn't be drinking. In terms of recovery, getting back, it is their job as well. It's not like, I play park cricket, like a decent level or something like that. I don't get paid for it. I don't have contracts for it. It's like, okay, if I want to be at my best, I probably shouldn't drink when I'm injured, just based on recovery. And same with Ponga as well. Like he's got a brain injury, right? That's why he hasn't been playing, that he's been concussed too many times and he has a little bit of an issue there. And obviously drinking's not going to help that either. So not great for their health, as the boys spoke about, but that's right. I'll summarise that for you. They spoke about that. They're obviously not great for his health, but it's not great for the look of the club. He's meant to be leading this, and there's a reason why that a team with such a great roster isn't playing better than they should. They started the season great, and they haven't been great since. And it all does come down to that culture. And being a captain of a club like this, Ponga has to have some accountability to that. And you look at captains of other clubs, you look at Finucane and what he brings to a team like the Sharks. And yes, Ponga is young, but he is their highest paid player. He's paid over $1 million a year. And that does come with some responsibility. And, you can earn that cash. You can be flashy on the field. You can do great things in certain games. But unfortunately, it hasn't been working out as much for him with the Knights as it has for when he plays for Queensland. He's praised like crazy when he plays there. And he's copying a little bit of criticism here. And I think it is fair. We don't like doing it. Well, I don't anyway, but I think it's fair that this type of look is not great for him, for the club. And if I was a higher up at the Knights, I would be disappointed with this. And that's probably all I need to say on this situation. Just a bit of a not a great look and not the time to be doing this type of thing. Like if you're doing it after the season, completely fine. I think that's, everyone should be able to do what they want, right? But in terms of this look, it is look for the club, not ideal. If they're out here, coming 5th or 6th and really dominating on a random night out after a game or something, completely fair. Do what you please. But yeah, it's not working at the moment, unfortunately. We'll move on to just a little. The boys give it to Buzz, don't they?
He came to Sydney.
Knights fans, Buzz, with due respect,
just let me
Knights
finish.
fans don't want to hear that now.
No, well, I
they don't
think,
want to hear about the SG.
I wrote about this this morning, James. They're 19-year-old kids, right? And they beat the Sydney Roosters, who are the top
But
side.
they're 3 years away, and only out of those, you'll get 3 or 4 out of them, you're going, okay. You're not going to get
Buzz, are they going to save Adam O'Brien's job? Are they going to guarantee Adam?
They're going to let the man speak. I see this all the time with Buzz. He starts saying a point and they just don't even let him finish what he says. It's obviously, I think that's pretty rude. Let the man talk, and then you can say your piece. They just completely shut down what he's saying. They're talking about the Knights and their setup, and obviously they've brought Adam Bryan in to build this slowly. Like, they obviously haven't had a great culture, a winning culture in a good while. So this was them trying to have some building blocks. And Buzz was talking about their SG ball side's absolutely killing at the moment, which all guys 18, 19 years old are building. There will be some good NRL players out of that. And he was just speaking a little bit about the future. And they're like, well, we're wanting to build this now, right? We need to fix this now. That is obviously the worry about it all. But it's all just going to come down to the culture, and that's going to be the biggest part of it. And Mr. Kenty speaks about that in a second here, which will pop forward.
You've gone off orienteering,
Listen,
and we're all asleep.
How did I know
they haven't got it. They haven't got the luxury of waiting 3 to 4 years for those kids.
But what do they- you give me your plan.
Well, what they got? Well, I'll tell you what they've got to do. They've got to start lifting the standards within the joint.
That starts
and the
tomorrow morning.
accountability of the players and the way that they're playing and the way they're performing on the field. And you've only got to look what Todd Payton has done in one summer, how he transformed the Cowboys. What Craig Fitzgibbon's done in basically a summer, transformed the Sharks. They're a different looking side. The Knights are living on old glories.
I'm trying to tell you, they're on their salary cap. They have no money to spend.
Train harder.
And
Buzz, the forward pack is a representative forward pack. The roster is not that bad.
Oh,
but if you talk to other...
There's a lot there. The train harder one, okay. You can do that, but it's going to be the culture. It's about playing. It's about playing for each other and the will and want to win. It's effort. Yes, the training harder is going to, fitness is going to be great. But if you can be fit and not want to be there, not want to work for your mates, not want to try when it gets tough, when you're injured, when you're carrying a little bit of a niggle in a game, you just don't bother putting in that extra 5 to 10% effort. You think it's like, was it Joshy Morris when he did his ACL and he just wanted it so bad, he came into the plate and helped save a try. Like, you can't teach that, and they got to want to do that for each other. They speak about going, you go out to war with your mates, and a lot of the time, if you've ever played any team sport, you can tell when things aren't flowing. You're all there. A lot of you are there individually. A lot of you are there for your pay packet, whatever it is. That just needs to be built culturally. And yes, he speaks about the Todd Payton one. The Payton one, he's just got the best out of guys that want to be there and have talent. Like, how many of the young fellas have come in and just developed, right? And these are guys that want to get better. And yes, they've got some great direction from someone like Payton, but they have great direction from Townsend, and there's a lot going on there. Whereas that needs to come. It does need to come from within in a lot of parts there. So I found that very interesting. On the Knights, there's obviously a lot that they need to work on over the next year or so, and it's going to be very fun and interesting to see how that develops. And you can speak about the Titans stuff. We haven't really spoken about them much, and the amount of youngsters they have and the talent that they have in this one, that they need to. If they don't perform next year, for example, there's going to be a few heads rolling in that one as well. So we're going to speak about Latrell now and just the mini injury that looks like he's popped up with for his groin.
Over the course of the last couple of seasons. He was goal kicking today, and the groin went on him, and then he tried to do some basic running drills, and he was brought off the field immediately. The Rabbitohs physio Eddie Farah and also Travis Toomer attended to him straight away, and he was wrapped in cotton wool from there.
So I've just got a text from his mate.
Love your
Breaking
text.
news.
No, well, I have from his mate Matt Rose, and he's just met with Latrell, his manager, and he says he's okay, mate. So,
he's good. Can you trust?
Yeah, it's his tweet, by the way. Ferrari in the garage, Desal. Doesn't even actually know what that means. The first bit's fair, but again, the boys just kind of mentioned how confident he is at the moment. Just be aware of this if you have him in fantasy. If you want to have a little bit of cover in the wing fullbacks, that would be definitely ideal, considering there's a chance that he might not play, but it sounds like he might be okay, and at worst, a 1 week thing. So, try not to stress too much with that one. We'll speak about Ciraldo next. is going to be the interesting one because he has now been.
We've seen once again Shane Flanagan has
been into a 5-year deal. With the Dogs for next year. So he's spent a lot of time in assistant roles. He's coached down to 20s to a premiership. So plenty of cool stuff here. And we'll just let the boys speak for a second.
been overlooked. I know that, look, all reports he's a tremendous coach, but we've seen a couple of Penrith assistants come out and not do so well, so it doesn't mean it's a guarantee of success. The fact that Canterbury have offered a 5-year deal for a rookie coach is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, the 5-year deal,
nothing's ever guaranteed.
It's not, Braith, but certainly there is a huge element of risk involved.
It's a financial risk
Kenty
involved.
spoke earlier about the performance of Craig Fitzgibbon and Todd Payton this year, and they're also rookie coaches. Payton's in his second year, Fitzy in his first, but both of them had done long apprenticeships, and certainly in the case of Todd Payton, he'd coached sides on his own. He coached the Tigers under-20 side to a premiership. Ciraldo's got a similar form line in that he's coached a Panthers under-20 side to a premiership. He has sat in the head coaching seat when Ivan Cleary's been absent this year, and also when Anthony Griffin.
Yeah, so plenty of positive. The 5-year thing's interesting. I get that they want to give them the opportunity to come in and build, but how many rookie coaches or younger coaches or change of coaches come in, and if they don't perform in the first 2 years, they're gone anyway? So I don't understand the 5-year stuff, and it is a bit of a risk on them. A lot of time you spent firing them and paying out the rest of their contract. They might have 3 years guaranteed, and then it's a team option or something from there. But still, to ink a 5-year one, like how hard is it to just offer someone a 2 to 3 year and say, okay, if you do well, if we think you're going in the right direction after 2 years, we will. You're obviously going to be offered another contract. Like if you do well, you're gonna get somewhere in life. You're gonna get a new contract. It's going to happen. So the 5-year one's an interesting one from the Dogs. Rookie coach, understandable. Youngest coach. Yeah, also fair enough. But the biggest thing is it's stability for a club that's starting to build. So if he can come in and he can potentially jump on at the right time when they start to play better. They've been doing very well. Let's be honest. The last month, apart from that last game against the Warriors, where they just had a bit of a shocker handling the ball. But if they can go through a lot of what they've learnt and improve upon that the last month or so, I think they'll be pretty well fine. We're going to jump forward now and speak a little bit about Des Hasler and what's happening with the Manly boys at the moment.
Allow any latitude for what happened the other day when they didn't have the 7 players, but certainly I think if you're in Des's corner, that's a legitimate gripe to say to the club.
Of course it is.
They say, well, hang on, if you guys hadn't actually got involved here and those players have been able to play, we might have been a chance. And so far, they've not responded to it since that loss.
Can I give you some background here? Remember the first press conference when the 7 players pulled out of the side? It was just Des and Daly Cherry Evans. And Des was very emotional but strong, and he had help with his speech and all that sort of thing. But he was quite critical of the club management, from Scott Penn to the CEO or to the football club staff, in that they hadn't handled this appropriately and they hadn't filtered down to the players.
He's thrown them under the bus.
But yes, I don't think that went down well with management, that Des was openly critical of them. And I think
their concern is that Des has got too much power. So behind the scenes, there's a little power play between the owners and the people running the club and Des, because Des, for a long, long time, has had control of the club to the point where they allowed him to have.
I think that's very interesting. They come in and make this decision, the Pride round. Okay, I think whatever you think of that, but it's created some turmoil in the club. The 7 players are obviously annoyed by it. It annoyed coach. It would have annoyed DCE, I'd imagine, for sure. And the majority of the players that, it's their friends that they go to war with every day, as we speak about. They train with them, they hang out, they're all good mates. And you can see it's definitely caused some issues. This last month, they've been terrible. You look at DCE's scores, he's been terrible. He ran 15 metres the other day. So, crazy. Like, we knew it at the time too. Everyone was saying it. That one decision could derail their season, and they were actually starting to play pretty well. Yes, they don't have Tommy Trbojevic. There's a great chance that they weren't going to make the top 4 in terms of the prelim final or something like that. But for them to now say that Desi's job's under fire, it might just be because the board aren't happy with him coming out and speaking about that. But to say that he's in trouble for saying what he thinks is fair, obviously then, and we can make comment on the on the ownership group and upper management, he should be able to as well. It's affecting his job, for example. And people go, oh, well, Desi's a terrible coach because of them losing every game this last 4, for example, whereas it wasn't his fault at all. There was nothing that he did that caused any issues. And I just think that's silly that there would be any issue in his job. But it is upper management's decision. And if it is a potential power play, it's power, hey? It's a very interesting thing. All right, let's move on to the last bit of this video. It's going to be a little bit around Brad Arthur, who's going to pop in and say a few words here on how they're going at the moment and obviously the inconsistent nature of it all. So we'll jump through to that one.
We know our best football is good enough. We need to make sure that we're prepared and we're hungry enough to come every week with our best football. And if we play our best football and we get beat, well, I can live with that. But we've got to give ourselves a real chance and opportunity, and it's got to be presented from the start of the game.
Well, just on that, after the game, Clint Gutherson was talking about that. One of my pet peeves with professional footballers is the old, we just didn't turn up tonight claim. They get the program earlier in the week. They know what time kickoff is. As professional athletes, their one job is to be ready come kickoff time. What do you say to your players?
Well, look, Kenny, we had a discussion about that today, and the only way I can really take a lot of control of that is if I'm dropping players every week or every second week, and that's not good for team combinations. So it's got to be an individual thing as well. And I'm part of that, making sure that we do come with that attitude. But we just got to make sure we've got that pride in ourselves for your own performance each week. And the players agreed. They've got to take full control of that. How we turn up to a game.
Well, it feels a little bit like Groundhog Day in that the Eels always start the season strong. You can beat some of the better sides.
Yeah, all very fair points, and just what Hoops is about to say, that the inconsistency, they start really well and get pretty tough. Don't play as well at the end of the year. This year they're very different. Brad went to say that they've won 7 out of the last 10. They beat 2 good teams before this week and had obviously a shocker in this one. What Brad said, it was perfectly said, I think. There's only so much he can do. He can set them up, he can speak about it, he can build the morale, all that. They've obviously got that. They're a very, very good team. A lot of them are great mates, so there's great morale there. But it's just these games where they just decide not to play anywhere near their best. The effort is so much lower than it is in the other weeks. You see they're just all over teams in defence, and then the next week they're not. So it does come down to that individual pride and that ability to make that extra 5 to 10% effort. You're playing each and every week against great teams, and it's going to be very, very. It is difficult to stay up each and every game, but the best teams do that, and they want to be classed as one of the best teams, and they're not. And I definitely think it's going to have to come down to some of the individual players, majority, all of them, because I know it just comes down to, do they want to be seen as being part of a team that just fades away at the end of each season or gets to the finals and can't win a game? Like, do you want to be seen as that, or you want to be seen as a winner? That's probably the general question that they need to ask themselves, but only they can do that, and Brad can put them in the right positions, but it does come down to them out in the field. There's only so much he can do, set them up and get them ready and go from there. But I liked what Kenny said. It's definitely a pet peeve where they say, oh, we just didn't turn up. But it is also just them saying what they can to the media just to get them off their back, or just like, yeah, we just weren't good enough tonight. And that, a lot of the time, that's fine, but it's when you can say you're not good enough, but when you smash a team the week before and then come out and lose 26-0, it's like, well, it's obviously an effort thing. I watch the NBA pretty closely, and the Golden State Warriors fan, and when they were going, I think the year they won 73-9, they ended up losing to the worst team in the comp by like 20, and that ruined their streak, for example. You know what I mean? Like, it just if you don't turn up with the same effort, the teams are close enough that they can beat you. But anyway, that's my reaction to all the news in round 22. Let me know your thoughts on that one. If I got everything right, if I got everything wrong, let me know your opinion in the comments, just in general. Anyway, that would be great. But I hope you enjoyed it. Catch you in the next one, guys. If you want to see more of these videos, like and subscribe. We're doing more of them as we get through to the back end of the season and into finals time when the NRL fantasy season finishes. See you later, team.